Hello there, my name is Cearúil Swords. I'm an author and this is my interview. Okay, well, what can I divulge without getting myself in trouble? Well, I'm Irish. I was born and raised in Dublin. I studied in Scotland as well as Canada. I've lived abroad in Spain and Greece. I'm currently in Croatia at the moment. Like a lot of people, I like to travel. I've been very lucky that I've gotten to see so many parts of the world. And writing is something that I've been doing now for the last 2 or 3 years, intensively, say. And before that, it was kind of just every so often. And I also ran for elections in Ireland in 2014 in the local elections, but don't hold it against me. Well, I guess the sort of first thing that I really worked on was a set of scripts for video games. I was really, like, say around 10 or 11, I was really into some role-playing games, as they call them, like Final Fantasy. It was big on the PlayStation, you may or may not know it. And I was really captivated by the story and the world that was created. So I used to, during my summer holidays for like two years, maybe a little more, I used to stay up till like sort of 4 in the morning. Everyone else had gone to bed, and I would just furiously write the script into an A4 pad, and I'd have all the characters and introduce new ones, and give directions for like where they were going, like almost like stage directions, and then every so often there would be sort of descriptions of the world that they were in or the place they were going to. So that was the first stuff I wrote. Well, I like historical fiction, like from Gore Vidal, but I then also quite like sort of surreal, almost absurd fiction, kind of a la Kurt Vonnegut. But I don't read tons of fiction. I actually probably overall over the last few years I've probably read more non-fiction, which helps me to write my own fiction actually. It gives me sort of things to play off and sort of inspires some of my stories. Yeah, and just gives me when you know what's going on in the world, or what you think you know what's going on in the world, it can, at least in my case, help me to kind of create other worlds that are sort of like this but not quite like this one. Probably lots of material on publishing and writing, but I just finished a book by Mark Steele, who is a British comedian and stand-up and full-time socialist as well, and he writes kind of about the absurdities and hypocrisies of politics today, with an emphasis on Britain, and I like his style. The one I read was What's Going On, which I think is one of his more recent ones. Very funny. I was laughing at that several occasions. Well, Bedtime Stories for Grown-ups, which is the book I've most recently published, is a short story collection of 10 stories of it's a sort of contemporary fantasy collection of sort of mixing fairy tales with sort of modern everyday life, boring things that you have to do, but mixing it up with some magic, having to buy a car. But the first time I remember having the idea was actually like probably 10 years ago or more, when I was still in secondary school. I had a friend who had a girlfriend who was going to be celebrating her 18th birthday, and I, having never met her, got it into my head that I was going to write her 18 stories, and that she would be the main character in all of them, and they ended up kind of being like fairy tales, or sort of not necessarily using characters out of fairy tales that we all know, but that style was going to kind of permeate the whole thing. I ended up getting 3 written instead of 18, but I think 3 was pretty good for like writing to a complete stranger that I had never met. So that was the first time anyway. I'm working on 2 things. I've got a novella called Splutter that I'm looking to bring out in May of this year, and in advance of that I've also got a novelette, I think that's how you pronounce it, a shorter piece, like sort of 10-15,000 words, which is about a fictional band that I created a Facebook page for, and it kind of chronicles their attempts and their misadventures in the music industry. It talks about their gigs, the worst gigs, music videos they created, interviews they do for magazines, but it's all kind of strange and again surreal, and it's kind of it's a bit of a laugh. Most of my stuff at the moment is kind of humorous, or at least the attempt is to provide humor and a few laughs to the reader. So that and Splutter is kind of surreal fiction again, strange meandering kind of through my mind, but kind of like amplified and turned up to 11. So yeah, those are the two things I'm working on at the moment. Aspiring writers. Well, I mean, I'm well placed to tell you everything I know, and it will take less than 20 seconds probably. But if I was going to say something to aspiring writers, it would be that from sort of the get go, or from this point on, any hour you spend writing should be equaled almost, if not more, by promoting and working on creating an audience, developing an audience for your work, because every hour writing needs at least an hour of publicity and promotion added, because that's the, at least if you're going to independently publish. But even if you want to publish with a traditional one of the big companies or a mid-sized publishing company, they want to know that you have a following. They want to know that you have fans, that there's people out there who wait to hear what you've got to say, who want to read your prose or your poetry. They also want to know that you are kind of bankable, that you're somebody that they can trust to get them a couple of thousand readers. So even if you go traditional publishing, you must have some sort of marketing promotion plan, or at least just be working on getting yourself known and people liking what you do. And doubly the case if you're going to be independently publishing. Absolutely, from this moment on, make sure that people know who you are and what you do. But do it in such a way that it's not rammed down their throat, and that they don't think, oh, this guy's just advertising to me the whole time, he's just spamming me with all of this nonsense about when his book's being released. You got to do it in such a way that people are interested, that you're giving them something beyond just a simple sort of what do you call them, sort of newsletter, not newsletter, but just a press release. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. It needs to be more than a press release. Okay, that's it. That's all I know for aspiring writers at the moment. I wouldn't eat either. So uh, uh, both are bad for me, but I suppose I'll take cake, but not spongy cake. I don't prefer just like total chocolate meltdown if I was gonna have cake. Car or motorcycle? Well, it really depends on whether I'm getting, if someone's driving over me or whether I'm going to be driving over them. But probably in both cases, I'm still going to take a car because it's much easier to survive that. I used to be like, I didn't have any sort of e-reader for a very long time, and I just got one now. And based on the fact that I do travel around a bit, the e-reader comes in quite handy. So I'll go with e-reader at the moment. Well, I mean, I thought this was an interview. I didn't think you were looking for a date. I mean, is that what this is all about? You're just trying to find the perfect partner. I'd say probably a night out, as long as we're not just going to some cramped disco where it's too loud and we can't talk to each other and we all smell like smoke at the end. If we're going on a big adventure, night out. Oh, if you've got the time and you can make the time, a car or some sort of slower means of transport like a bicycle or something, it's far preferable than launching yourself 30,000 feet in the air in a metal tube and then not knowing what's going on beneath you and then just landing somewhere. But you know, obviously I can understand why the plane is preferable in some cases. Well, hotels are filthy. No disrespect to anyone who works in them, but it's not so much like the people cleaning it or anything, but just like some of the things that people probably do in a hotel. Like I don't want. People think camping is a messy, dirty thing, but if we could get one of those ultraviolet lights and just shine it everywhere in a hotel, I think we'd probably leave straight away. So. As long as the weather's good and you haven't just given me like some sort of festival tent that's only good for a weekend, I'll take camping. Well, you know, a lot of Batman's sort of days kind of comprise probably of him sitting around in his cave or marching about outside in the grim Gotham City looking for the people who killed his parents. I don't think that enough would be going on in one day to want to be Batman. If you got only one day, Spider-Man's better because you can go around slinging webs and climbing buildings, and there's just more adventure to it. You know, I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with Batman, or at least, you know, if there is, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't tell you for sure, but yeah, Spider-Man, all the web slinging and flying about the place, that's preferable. So there we go, we're done. Have yourselves a very good day, and I wish you all the best with your writing endeavours, or whatever else you're going to watch on the internet next. So this has been Cearúil. Bedtime Stories for Grown-Ups. It's available multiple places, and look out for Splutter in May. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.